Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, picture this. You're chilling in a cafe in Mumbai, sipping on your coffee, and you decide to shoot off a quick WhatsApp message to a buddy all the way over in America. You hit send and boom, it's there in seconds. It's such an everyday thing, right? Something we literally do 100 times a day without even blinking. But what exactly goes down in those few seconds? How on earth does that message cross the entire globe that fast?
Seriously, I want you to just pause for a second and really think about it. Where does the internet actually live? When you tap send on that text, or you load up a web page or stream your favorite song, what is the exact physical path that data just took to get to you, or to cross the whole planet? I mean, it has to physically go somewhere, right?
Okay, let's dive into this, because honestly, we've all been sold a bit of a myth. We're constantly talking about the cloud. Oh, my photos are backed up in the cloud, or the app runs in the cloud. It gives us this beautiful, almost magical mental image of our phones beaming glowing data straight up into the sky, just bouncing around the atmosphere. But yeah, your message doesn't just magically float into the clouds. The reality is way more grounded. The internet is surprisingly physical. It relies on hard, tangible stuff. Think buzzing routers, massive data centers, and literally miles upon miles of actual physical cables.
And this brilliantly illustrates how it starts locally. When you send that message from Mumbai, your data doesn't just travel as one giant, clunky chunk. Oh no, it's chopped up into these tiny, microscopic packets of information. These little packets zip out of your phone, hit your local Wi-Fi router, and then they're shoved through this crazy maze of physical city networks. You've got routers and switches physically directing these glowing packets of data through fiber optic cables that are literally buried right under your streets, eventually funneling the whole shebang into a massive buzzing data center.
But hey, here is where the journey gets truly wild. When that little message has to leave India and cross a massive ocean to reach America, something absolutely incredible happens. It doesn't get beamed up to some high-tech satellite in space. Nope. Instead, it plunges straight down to the very bottom of the sea. It travels through submarine fiber optic cables. We're talking about massive, highly engineered physical cables just lying right there on the dark ocean floor, silently connecting our continents and transmitting the vast majority of our global data.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of it. You might be sitting there thinking, okay, sure, maybe some data goes underwater, but surely satellites handle most of the heavy lifting these days, right? Well, according to data from the International Telecommunication Union, that couldn't be further from the truth. Guys, more than 99% of all international data traffic travels through these submarine cables. Less than 1% goes through satellites or anything else. Almost everything you do online that crosses a border is literally taking a deep-sea dive.
Let's move to ARP and see how this builds, because to handle that 99% of the entire world's data, you need some serious scale. Right now, there are roughly 500 active and planned submarine cable systems stretching across the globe. Just think about that. Only about 500 main arteries pumping the lifeblood of the entire modern digital age across the oceans. That relatively small number of cables is making this whole global interconnected world possible.
And to truly grasp what those 500 systems actually mean in the real world, you have to think about the sheer staggering distance. 1.7 million kilometers. That is the physical length these cables cover. It's basically this invisible underwater highway crisscrossing our planet's oceans, stretching over 1.7 million kilometers, just sitting there in the pitch dark. All of that just to ensure your quick texts, your cat videos, and your work emails actually arrive where they're supposed to.
But here's the catch. These cables are absolute marvels of human engineering for sure, but they are definitely not invincible. Far from it, actually. Because they exist out there in the harsh, physical world, they face very real physical threats every single day. Imagine a massive cargo ship accidentally dropping its anchor in the wrong spot. Yeah, that can completely sever a connection. Or heavy commercial fishing boats dragging their massive nets across the seabed. Huge hazard. Even natural disasters like a sudden underwater earthquake can snap these cables in an instant. The entire backbone of our seemingly magical internet is incredibly vulnerable to the harsh realities of the ocean floor.
So, the crucial point is, what actually happens if one of them breaks? Well, the stakes are astronomically high. These fragile underwater cables support way more than just us scrolling through social feeds or binging YouTube. They literally hold up the pillars of global society. We're talking about carrying massive financial transactions between global banks. They host the essential cloud services that massive companies rely on every single minute. They maintain secure government communications. They make sure the stock market keeps ticking. And yeah, they keep your cross-border video calls running smoothly. They are, quite literally, the nervous system of the modern world.
Which brings us right back to where we started today. So the next time you're sitting in a cafe and you send that quick WhatsApp message overseas to a friend, just take a second to remember the insane journey that data takes. You aren't sending it through some magical, invisible cloud in the sky. You're actually sending it through one of humanity's absolute biggest, most vital hidden pieces of infrastructure. The internet has a physical body, and it's buried at the very bottom of the sea. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our entire digital lives depend on a few physical cables just lying in the dark, well, just how fragile is this connected world we've built? Definitely something to think about the next time you hit send.